So, do you guys know how I keep calling Candace Owens a fraud? It's because she is the biggest fraud to possibly exist, even more than the likes of Dave Rubin. Well, that is actually a question that is a fair question. I don't know where I stand on that. But anyways, what we're going to be looking at, because this is not a single faceted thing, right? This is a multifaceted thing that has so many different details to it. Some of it which I just found out today, but those will be for another video. What we're going to be looking at here today is the origins of Candace Owens, because the Candace Owens of 2016 and the Candace Owens of 2017 are two very different Candaces within the eyes of the American people. Now, you guys may have heard about this, but she attempted to start a doxing website, and it was, I believe it was up and it had the database going. Essentially, the idea was we should have this site. She wanted to have this site where it would have a database where if someone said something mean to you, you can post their information and have it public. And that was such a horrible idea. This got so much backlash that it's very rare to find unanimous backlash. There's always the contrarians, right? In this case, it was unanimous. Everybody came out against social autopsy. Everybody on the planet came out against it. Okay, the Young Turks did a story about it. They ran a story about it. They said, holy smokes, this is a horrible idea. Everybody, I'm telling you, everyone came out against this. It was pure insanity. Now, all of the right was against this massively because what they saw this as was it was an attempt by the SJWs to essentially, ruin the lives of the people who they perceived as to be bullying them, the SJWs perceived to be bullying them. So what they saw Candace Owens as was, at the very least, being the most generous, a SJW enabler. But a lot of them just called her straight up an SJW because that's why they hated her. So it's really insane that the right wing has gone from calling her, again, at the most generous, an SJW enabler, although a lot of them were just calling her an SJW outright, to now hailing her for obviously dumb reasons. Now, here's the crazy thing about this website, right? So apparently the company was Degree 180, and who is the CEO? Candace Owens. Now, what we're going to be looking at here, this is a YouTube video from a YouTube channel called Degree 180. It's their official account. This video was uploaded on March 22, 2016. This video is still up. I can't believe they didn't take this down. All the videos are still up on this channel. There's only 3. But this video is entitled Social Autopsy FAQs. FAQs are frequently asked questions. The like to dislike bar on this is insanity. I've never seen anything like it. 30 likes, 1.3K dislikes. And I'm surprised it isn't worse. What 30 monsters decided to like this video? I don't know what kind of imbeciles did that. It's insanity. I can't believe anybody would like this. But the like to dislike ratio is essentially unmatched unless you were to... I've never seen a 30 and then a shit ton of dislikes. Usually there's more than 30 likes in that sort of a case. But I want to play out some of this video so you guys can check it out.
Hey guys, it is Candace Owens, the founder of socialautopsy.com. We have gotten so many comments, questions, and concerns written in about our database from some of the articles that ran about it, as well as some of the social media work we've been doing trying to spread the word, and we figured, why not get it all in one spot and do a live FAQ? I guess it's technically not live, but you know what I mean. How is this legal? This worries me because I think people are actually shocked that the internet is public. That's the best way that I can answer this question. The internet is public. We are not hacking into your computers or breaking into your houses and stealing hard drives. You guys are putting all this information out there and we are just aggregating it. So it's legal because if I can do a Google search and find out all this information, if I want to put it somewhere else, that's all completely fair use. I hope that answers your question. Be honest. What about minors? We are seeing a lot of people that are showing concern for minors, and I guess it's sort of a two-pronged approach, which is first, you guys should be visiting the terms of service on Facebook and on Twitter because they thoroughly explain what it means to be a minor and what you sign up and what you agree for when you check that box and agree to their terms of usage. Pretty much, if you are a minor, you are not excluded from anything if you are posting in a public place saying awful things. With that said, we stand by the fact that we think the best time to be on our database is when you are a minor, because that's exactly what we're trying to do. We are trying to affect their, conscience when they're young, so they know to use the internet more responsibly when they're older. There's no harm, no foul, really, if you're a minor, right? You have this profile for 365 days. You're not applying to college. You're not, going out for a job. It doesn't do anything to affect your livelihood in any way. So we think that that's really honestly the best time for people to learn. And by the way, we don't want to exclude minors because minors are the ones, it's because no one's been able to get a hand on the bullying, and they, don't necessarily have the tools at that age to know how to cope with it. So that's actually where we are trying to make the most change. This is a comment. I feel that 1 year is harsh for minors. They are still learning. Okay, so you guys that keep saying this are kind of what is exactly wrong with the internet today. Your child should not be given the internet to learn. They shouldn't be trying out the internet, and trying out saying bad words on the internet. You should be sitting down having conversations with them about how serious the internet is. We say that the internet, the serious tone of the conversations that we want adults to start having with their children. And if these conversations are had because we exist, then great. We don't want minors to be using the internet to learn. I mean, that is exactly why we're seeing so much damage being done on the internet right now. All of that said, it's very important to know, to kind of calm you guys all down, that the overwhelming majority of the submissions that we had to date are not minors. They are coming from adults. They are coming from people that are above the age of 30 even. So what we're gonna see when we launch, what you guys will be able, to notice in terms of the trends, is that this database is not filled with minors. So it's nothing that you really need to be concerned about.
Yeah, so a lot of that stuff that you guys just saw is massively scary. One of the things that I found was super crazy was there were a few things that were really crazy, of course. One of the main ones, by the way, being that one of the questions that was posed to her was, what about minors? And there were two things that were concerning to me. One was this sort of crazy, unbelievable thought of Candace Owens is going to shape the actions of minors online. It's like, what? Are you some kind of like crazy person? What kind of an authoritarian, piece of trash does that? It's just such a weird thing to hear. I don't know if she said it if she like heard it in her head before she actually fucking said it in the video or not. But like she is trying to mold what children are going to do on the internet, which is insanity. The other thing being, what she thinks is that it wouldn't at all affect their future or what they were doing at the time when minors, all minor mean is you're under 18 because 18 is legal age. People work as early as 16 and people apply for scholarships at 17, 18. So what the hell are you talking about? You don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even understand. I saw someone comment that she must have been really privileged to not know that. I don't even think it's that, because people who get jobs at 16, even if you don't do it. So what the hell, what is wrong with you? She is so dumb. It's unbelievable how stupid she is. But it's this sort of weird, like almost Orwellian thing I want to say. And I know that term is really overused, but this idea of attempting to dox people, have these people who have these accounts that are not, don't have their name. And I think that going after people's jobs and stuff is pretty low in a lot of cases. It's really rare where I think that that's really, if ever, really warranted. I guess there can be rare cases that it is warranted. But basically, there's this FAQs video, and there's more footage, I guess, of her talking about this. But there's also a debate that happened between Candace Owens and Blair White on Dave Rubin's show. And after watching that, right, I couldn't get through even like more than a couple minutes of it because it's so unbearable. I can't. First of all, Dave Rubin proves once again to be the worst moderator on planet Earth. But number two, Candace is such an asshole, such a horrible human being. I mean, she starts out by essentially low blowing Blair, and it sucks that, I mean, I'm the one who has to defend her on these grounds because she's the one siding with the right. But low blow about saying, you know, you're a grown man, and it's just such a disgusting blow. It's so horrible. And then throughout the whole thing, she's just screaming and fucking. It's horrible, man. She looks like a child who can curse, basically. It's really embarrassing. I want to say I recommend you watch it if you're able to get through it. Oh my God, you are amazing. But if you go through the comments of that, it pretty much, I got the consensus that people said that basically Candace looks horrible, but I don't understand why the Roopster would continue to be friends with her after knowing the truth, and then on top of that, why the right still hails her despite all of her massive fraudulent behavior. Another thing I want to add, although I may go more into depth on this in another video, but basically she also used to have this, I guess now defunct blog, which I think was the Degree 180 thing. And I believe, and there were a bunch of stories that were ran on there that made fun of Donald Trump. So it's very, very clear, very, very clear to me and anyone with two brain cells to rub together that this is what happened. Basically, her plan was, okay, I'm going to make this site. This site is going to, you know, I'm the CEO, I'm going to make a bunch of money. That didn't pan out. So what was the backup plan that she had in her, you know, in the palm of her hands? It was the idea of, oh, you know, I'll suddenly switch. And it's so crazy. She just went away for a little bit out of the spotlight, and then all of a sudden she comes back and boom. It's like a magic trick. Whole new Candace. It's like a whole new thing. It's like, okay, come on. You're the biggest fraud on planet Earth. And she doesn't know anything, obviously. She's so dumb, it's insane. Again, I really recommend. I might have to go back and delve into the Joe Rogan thing again because I keep citing it because it's so telling, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up doing that again. But she is so dumb, it's unbelievable. It used to be a debate for me whether or not Tommy Lahren or Candace Owens was dumber. But after listening to that, holy smokes, there's no one dumber than Candace. So it's clear to me that this person does not actually give a fuck about politics. Really, she's just trying to cash a paycheck. And honestly, if you're thinking from a perspective of a normal person, I mean, didn't she get I think she got a shout out from Trump, right? We definitely know she's been hanging out with Kanye, and Kanye gave her a shout out. That's crazy, right? And the biggest issue that I have, well, I have multiple huge issues, by the way, but one of them being she's a massive fraud who essentially sold out and doesn't really believe in anything. She's just spouting whatever she says for fame and money. But she's just, oh, it's unbearable how horrible it is, how horrible what she says is, how dumb she is. It's pure insanity. And again, I really recommend you watch the Blair White Candace Owens debate. If you can't watch the whole thing, I still recommend you actually skip through it to some degree because you'll get a lot of information out of it. And I think that that's important because you'll see who Candace Owens really is. But she basically decided to flip into this was her backup business plan. And the second thing that I was trying to articulate that is the worst, outside of her being a massive fraud, is that it gets into layers of fraudulency, where it's like, in the beginning, it's like, okay, massive fraud, doesn't care about politics, is just doing it for a dime and for fame. But the next thing is, not only is it that, but on top of that, Candace Owens is her entire being is predicated on being a black woman, right? If she was saying what she was saying as a white woman, no one would care. Nobody would care. No one would give any shit. Especially if she was a white dude, no one would care. Now, actually, white woman, she's like a Tommy, I guess, maybe. But still, like, it's nowhere near the card that Candace has. So Candace Owens, struts around like in the PragerU video saying, oh, I could use the black card, but I didn't because I'm all about meritocracy and merit-based systems and, I fight. Yeah, right. You just have the opposite. You have the other side of that card, if that card even exists. But what you're doing is your entire being, your entire persona, your entire existence is based upon the fact that your identity, your race, your gender, that's what it's built upon. So the fact that she has the gall to say that, there's this black card and all this and all that, when she's using that same thing, unbearable. She's playing a token. Tokenism on the right is massively, existent. I can't think of a better word to use in this case, but basically on the left, if you're a black woman who says something like that, there's like there's a shit ton of them, so no one cares. It's not going to get massive media coverage. But if you're in a drought, I mean, this is like some supply demand action, you know what I mean? Milton Friedman would be proud, low supply, high demand. So she fills that in, and boom, she's making money from Turning Point USA, which gets massive Koch funding and other right-wing billionaires, and they're trying to hide their funding and all this because they don't want to divulge that, holy shit, we're not grassroots. And she's, hanging out with Kanye. By the way, she's such a fraud. Even Kanye couldn't handle him. Kanye, that lie was the straw that broke the camel's back. She lied about him designing a fucking hat or whatever merch for Blexit, and he dipped out. He couldn't handle it no more. He's like, oh my God, how many times are you gonna lie to me? And so he's gone too. Oh my God, that's how much. Think about how much of a fraud she is. I still cannot understand or comprehend with all of, my being. I cannot manage to understand why on God's green earth the right wing still hails this person when you clearly know this person is fraudulent on every front possible. She doesn't really believe what she's saying. She's just doing it for a dime. She's just doing it for the fame. She was a crazy SJW who started a doxing site and defends it to this day. She doesn't say, "Oh, it was a mistake." Her defense in the debate with Blair White, you know what it was? Oh, it never went up. What kind of a defense is that? That's so stupid. You plot out doing something bad and it doesn't come to fruition and you're all good? No. Intent matters. And my understanding was it was up. And she's just so dumb on top of all of that. I'm increasingly inclined to revisit the whole Rogan debacle just because it's so telling. And holy smokes, is oh my God, it's unbearable. And I can't wrap my mind around the fact that the right still hails this fucking liar. And every tweet she sends out gets like 20,000 favorites, no matter how dumb it is. And I'm increasingly under the belief those are bots, because there's no other way someone's so dumb, although it is on the right wing, so I guess it is possible. I guess that's the premise we have to take in, right? I mean, it is the right. And they do a lot of stupid stuff. So I guess this falls in line. I don't know. I still can't understand it. It's impossible to understand. But there's more fraudulent stuff to talk about Candace Owens, and I'll be getting into those in subsequent videos.